Hey y'all, Data Guy here, back from my hiatus, here to talk to you about what I was doing while I was gone, which was attending the Snowflake Summit 2024. So what I want to do in this video is just break down for the many of you out there that probably didn't go to Snowflake Summit, kind of what the biggest takeaways I thought were from the summit, a lot of the vendors that I saw, some of the biggest keynotes takeaways, and then I'll also just give you a quick little explanation of my own talk, which is about Cosmos, which is a way to render dbt workflows within Airflow. But if you weren't there, missed out on not a lot. There was really Snowflake for AI focused conference. And the first big announcement that they had, and just getting into it, Snowflake for Iceberg. So Iceberg is an open table format that basically allows you to use a storage system as a data lake solution. So you can see this has this Iceberg, and then use Iceberg as the high performance engine to actually be able to, hey, query this wide array of different SQL tables, and also allows you to work with something like Spark, with something like Trino, to be able to work with any kind of table because it's all abstracted away by the Iceberg layer. So obviously this isn't going to be a video explaining what Apache Iceberg is, because that could be its own video in itself and probably will be a topic for a future video. But what you can really think of is just essentially Snowflake is coming here to support this new standardized Iceberg format to more easily integrate into any systems that are using Iceberg. So because so many analytical engines are now using Iceberg, and many times organizations aren't just using Snowflake, they're using other tools to actually store their data. And so Iceberg allows you to completely abstract the database layer and just write simple SQL and run it, whether it's in Snowflake or Postgres or MS SQL, wherever. So really, smart move by Snowflake for just, hey, let's go out, capture that market as well, because even though Snowflake is trying to bring people to just use Snowflake, they also kind of recognize, hey, this isn't really reality, and so kind of integrating with these types of systems that abstract away the actual underlying database layer is pretty cool to see, and glad they're not just kind of sticking with the, hey, we're going to build it all ourselves. Now, the next major kind of thing they were talking about, big release here, was the Snowflake native apps running on Snowpark container services. Snowflake native apps have been a thing for a while, but now you have Snowflake native apps that are deployed on compute that is also running alongside your Snowflake environment. So here you can see, you have your Snowpark container services where you have running on this Snowflake native app package. That shared code, the provider data, all those packages. Now if you want to go out, or currently, or even before this came out, you would access it and kind of run, on, or you download and run it within your own system, or run it within Snowflake. Now you have Snowpark container services, but also gives you kind of more granularity in how you want to deploy them. What machine sizes you want to use. It's bringing them together, and also being a fully managed service. You no longer need to run some of these services outside of Snowflake. The example I talked, and this is actually part of my talk, was running, hey, deploy your dbt models on a container right alongside your Snowflake environment, and then running them from there. But really, where you're going to find a lot of value is running Python workflows or any kind of ML workflows, where before you would have had to move your data outside of your Snowflake environment, and then bring it into wherever you're running that ML model, process the data. You're paying for I/O costs. You're paying for whatever that compute is where you're running it, which probably isn't specialized. Now, I'm not going to say Snowpark compute is going to be super cheap, because I doubt it will be. It's probably going to be pretty pricey. But the value add you have here by running your Python applications alongside all of your code or all of your data is that, hey, it's much easier to actually make use of that data, interact with it, update, save, and just kind of have Snowflake be that engine for your entire MLOps lifecycle. And then also bring in tools like Airflow, allowing Airflow to orchestrate virtual environments within Snowpark container services. And I'm sure like Streamlit AI, another great native app. You can just host your own Streamlit apps right within your Snowflake environment. Have your Snowflake data, refresh it, and then visualize it right there. So pretty useful tool. I think this is really about, hey, Snowflake's trying to capture all that money that's going outside their platform, bring it into them, to the Snowflake marketplace, because then they get a cut. So obviously their incentives are there. I think it is pretty cool. I think it will be cool for some use cases, but I wouldn't just go ahead and try to jam everything into Snowflake native apps. You're definitely still going to want to run a lot of things outside of Snowflake, but this is really good for, again, those workflows that make heavy use of that data that would be running that exists within your Snowflake environment. So now the big AI announcement that Snowflake had was the new Snowflake Cortex AI. And this is really a kind of new sidecar to your database, which allows you to build AI applications with LLMs and chatbots that run next to your data. So essentially, and I'll kind of explain it here down to this little example down here, but essentially what you'll do is you have your data, which is in your Snowflake environment. Cortex is able to use that data, and you can see the structured data, documents, for retrieval augmented generative search by also leveraging the underlying models from NVIDIA, from Meta, from, I don't see ChatGPT in here, so maybe they're not, but Mistral Large, Snowflake Architect. So you don't actually have to pay and host your own LLM, which is cost prohibitive and data prohibitive for most organizations, but you can feed that LLM your data in a secure way where the data continues to live within your four walls, but you're using the LLM to actually process and using that understanding power to read and interpret your data, and then allow you to say, hey, I want to ask my document a question, and so that's where the Cortex AI comes in. And so here you can see you also have the option to use like a Copilot as well here. So similar to Microsoft Copilot, GitHub Copilot, you now have Snowflake Copilot. So you can say, hey, I want to just show me the names of the top 5 contributors with the most patents. And then here, you'll see on the right, it'll generate a SQL query to actually achieve that. You can either run it right there, copy and paste in your worksheet, and it actually explains the logic behind it as well, which is pretty good because sometimes that can get lost in translation. Then you also have things like analytics assistants, document chatbots, and there's great amount of integration partners at the start, but super cool tool just for not having to run your AI software elsewhere, self-host another environment where you have to take your data out and then process it in an external location, pay for the IO costs, pay for the compute costs of that additional environment. So really nice just to have this feature running right alongside Snowflake, because typically if you're already using Snowflake, you're using it to store your data. What are you running your ML models on? Your data. So it makes sense to kind of have this feature running alongside your Snowflake environment, and just getting more value out of your data for and also for easier use. So this also, what I thought was interesting is now you can process audio and video and in more non-standard data types with this. So you can see here in this example, you actually have this reading a form and using AI to interpret it. But then more typical AI use cases like universal search here, where you can say, hey, I want to forecast next year's call volume, and it'll bring you up the tables and views and documents that you might want to look at. Another cool little feature, just I want to seek in, is that there is now an officially supported Snowpark API for interacting with pandas. So instead of needing to actually kind of do that translation step where you go from your SQL command, to get that data, then turning it into a pandas data frame within a single script, now you can just pull data directly out as a pandas data frame, and the Snowpark API will take care of that transformation under the hood. So just nice quality of life feature as well here. And also especially pertinent with ML and AI workflows, because those are typically run using pandas data frames. So really good on that side. Now, if you're a security-minded guy, or gal, you might be interested in the next topic, which is Snowflake Horizon. And so they really just gave a lot of updates. This has been out for a little bit, but a lot of updates to really expand the capabilities of Snowflake Horizon, and allowing it to protect and have more granular permissioning on both your database, but also your apps, models, and lineage as well. So that's a new big feature that they showed off that I hadn't really seen before, is they really have a nice data lineage view now within the Snowflake UI. So you can see here, if you go to a particular data set, you can now look at a feature view and see, hey, I can look at a particular data set, features, training data set, and the lineage of that data as well. So you can see, hey, how is this data changed over time? And then, monitor that at scale, have alerting based on certain data changes, and also set up data clean rooms, which a lot of people thought were really cool. So this is basically a way for you to, have your sensitive data that you couldn't typically analyze, have a specific clean room with, very tight access controls that can, you can access and interact with that data in a more delimited way. So essentially giving you the power to, get some of those more high level admin capabilities, but in a very strict environment with, auditings to make sure, hey, if anyone does anything they're not supposed to, immediate tracking and warning, and obviously removal of that person. But then also just better higher level visibility into your various tables and how data is flowing through your organization. So just, really a new plane. You can kind of say it's just a more human view of your organization, leveraging that data lineage and giving you, just better, more granular permissioning than you had previously without Snowflake Horizon. So very cool tool. And also I saw them have some good ways of using it to do cost analysis and cost optimization as well. So if you're interested in that, which I think almost everyone that uses Snowflake is, definitely check it out. But those are really the 5 biggest announcements, I think, from Snowflake Conference 2024. Had a really great time. It was really nice to see all those fly-by-night AI apps get cleaned out this year and actually have some more legit companies. So really appreciate that, and really just can't wait for next year. Had a great time. But that's all I got for y'all today. Have a good one. Data Guy out.